Okay, you guys, so we are back with another video, baby, and it's game on with my rapper chain on, and it's game on, my rapper chain on. So, in this video, we're gonna talk about Luigi Mangione. We haven't spoken about Luigi in quite a while, but I've been tracking his case here and there, and let me tell you, his attorney is exceptional. I thought that Mark Agnafilo was, that man, but his wife, Karen, she's that man, okay? Luigi has an amazing legal team. It's not just Karen, he has a few people there, right? But good news on his case for the Luigi fans. He will not be sentenced he's not getting the death penalty. There are numerous technicalities in his case because of the fact that the police did not act in accordance with the law. So because they did not act in accordance with the law, they did not Mirandize Luigi, they didn't read him his rights, they didn't obtain a search warrant to search his backpack. Karen found all the little mishaps and she used it with the rest of his legal team. They used it to their advantage, and as such, the only thing that he's getting charged for is stalking, and he'll be sentenced to life. On a state level, he will still be charged for murder, but not on a federal level. And again, that is because of a bunch of technicalities in his case, including them not getting the warrant to search his backpack and them not reading him his rights. What they're pushing at is that there was a gun found in his bag and the diary. They're saying the gun and the diary is like a manifesto, but his legal team, they're arguing differently. The judge is also saying, the prosecutors, they're saying, he should be sentenced to the death penalty because stalking is wrong and all of that. But the judge is saying that stalking is not really a crime. So too is his legal team. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with Luigi's case because they're saying he's going to still be sentenced to life. If at the end of this, Luigi is still sentenced to life behind bars, he's not going to do more than 10 years. And I don't think he's going to do 10 years. I think he is going to do 3 years maximum. And then he will be released on parole because there's way too many technicalities in this case for him to do life behind bars, even if he's sentenced to life behind bars. And what I remember in this case, because as I read the article, Bianca Sensori's uncle came to mind. He had numerous run-ins with the law in Australia, alleged murder, a lot of stuff. It was a lot, right? And they were pushing for him to get the death penalty. That's Bianca Sensori's uncle. But just the same, there were a bunch of technicalities in his case because the police wanted him so bad that they obstructed justice in many ways. They took away his legal rights just to, hold him on some of the charges. So he was the one who represented himself in court. Yes, Bianca Sensori is from a brilliant family. Her father represented himself in court, won the case when he appealed and was released. Her uncle represented himself, escaped the death penalty. He was sentenced to life, and then he knew the law would have changed. So he reappealed this case the moment that the law changed. So he only did 10 years behind bars, and he was later released. So Bianca Sensori's family case, it's reminding me of Luigi Mangione. And we can say it's a different country, but if you guys haven't seen, I did that video a couple years ago, and the OGs would know what I'm talking about. It's similar stuff that is going on here with Luigi, and as such, I don't see Luigi, honestly, in this day and age, I can't see him doing more than 3 years behind bars. So bookmark this video, save this video, so that whenever he's released on parole, you guys will remember that I told you so. One thing I'm really good at is calling the cases. I'm not really bursting my own bubble, but for those who keep up, I may not have a high number of views on those videos because I'm not saying what people want to hear. Because when it came to Sean Diddy Combs, I told everyone that Diddy wasn't going to get more than 5 years. I told you all because I was tracking all the details on Diddy's case. When it came to the Tony Busby lawsuits that Busby was filing against him, I said those lawsuits, nothing is going to come of them because they were just ridiculous, and you could see that there was no thought process when Tony Busby was filing those lawsuits. With Jay-Z again, I told you guys that that case would have been tossed out of court because it literally doesn't make any sense. Like, it wasn't gluing together the connection to establish a crime. It really wasn't there. And again, that was tossed out. I really have a good knock for legal issues. It runs in the family. For those of you who know what I'm talking about. It runs in the family. There are a few legal experts, I must say. Okay? But it runs in the family. We have a good knock for these things. So, Luigi Mangione, let's get into this report because, mark my word, and you guys, as I tell you what's going on, if you haven't been keeping up, you guys are going to see what I'm saying. If you have some legal knowledge, sense, and a little background. No, they're saying huge win for Luigi Mangione. The trial judge ruled death penalty is officially off the table. The feds wanted the judge to rule that the stalking charges they filed against Mangione were a crime of violence, and proving a crime of violence is a prerequisite for opening the door to even charging Mangione federally with murder. So after they abused all his rights and they realized that they weren't going to get him on murder that way, they wanted to convince the judge that stalking was a crime. This reminds me of when that young lady who basically vetted the cases on behalf of Tony Busby, and when the judge was saying to her what she did was not right, and she fired back at the judge, and I said, oh, the judge is going to call her up for a sanction hearing. And the judge was like, okay, you have a sanction hearing? This is what this is reminding me of, because they are telling the judge that stalking is a crime. Can you imagine? They know it's not a crime, but they wanted to convince the judge that stalking was a crime. It's not a crime. So the judge is saying, proving that stalking is a crime, it's not possible. No crime, because you're just following the person. Yes, it's not right, but it's not really a crime. But they did it because they wanted to open the door to charging Mangione federally with murder. If he was charged federally with murder, then at that point in time, he would have been open to the death penalty. But because he cannot be charged federally with murder, only on a state level, he's not going to see the death penalty, right? So the judge has ruled that stalking is not a crime of violence. The upshot is that Mangione can't even be charged with murder in the federal case. All he can be charged with is stalking, which carries a maximum sentence of life without parole. But the legalities of it is that you can't have someone in prison doing life for stalking, and that's why he's going to get out. He's going to get out. 3 years maximum. You can't have someone behind bars doing life for stalking because of all the technicalities that comes with it. So this man is going to be out of jail in no time, and leave it up to his legal team. They're going to ensure that it happens. Now, Mangione is still charged in state court with murder, although in New York, there's no death penalty for murder. Remember, they were pushing for the death. And guys, the assassination energy, it is in the atmosphere. Did you see that guy? I don't remember which president he launched a missile at. He was in flip-flops. Why does these gangsters love flip-flops so much? And the thing is that they always go end these mission in flip-flops. What's up with them in shoe? Like, are they allergic to shoes? Like, we're gonna talk about that in the next video. No, prosecutors, however, they did win a victory. The judge ruled the evidence searched and found in his backpack was admissible in the trial. The defense argued the evidence should not be admissible because the feds didn't have a search warrant. So now the jury will see the gun found in Mangione's backpack and his diary, which prosecutor says it's like a manifesto. So let me tell you something. This jury that they have, they're gonna let Luigi go. And if they don't let him go, Luigi is not going to do more than 3 years behind bars. No more than 3 years behind bars. But I guess Luigi's fans, they are excited to hear this. Very much excited. But, you know, the other day, hearing that someone tried to break Luigi out of jail, I laughed immediately because while it wasn't funny, it was somewhat funny because I was like, what are the chances now that everyone is saying Trump will be assassinated? Someone is attempting to break Luigi out of jail. Like, are they recruiting? Are they wanting to recruit Luigi to get that job done? You know, that is what I was saying. But y'all need to leave Luigi, okay? Luigi's attorney, they're taking care of everything. And Luigi will be fine. Now, you know, a lot of people may ask what happened to that Blue Cross man and his family. But I want to ask you this. What happened to him? Have you had I've seen so many TikTok videos about the healthcare system and health insurance. Like, it makes people grow cold and dark. Did you see that video with that woman who was in active labor and she was escorted out the hospital in active labor? And while her husband was transporting her to another hospital, she gave birth. So you have to understand that when people look at these people, they're not going to look at them as people. They're going to have nothing but strong disdain towards many of them. And we're in this era where it's the let them eat cake. The people, it's off with anyone's head. And when I say off with anyone's head, we're talking about the diplomats, the politicians, the elitists, you know, the A-list celebrities. Like, no one gives a rat ass about them anymore. So it is basically, look out for a lot of assassination attempts going forward. We're in that era. We can see the energy. We're not slow. We're not foolish to it. I don't know who started it, but is it Luigi? But remember that it's like everything has a season. So it is that moment again where they're coming back to, they want balance. Humanity needs balance and people are getting tired and frustrated. And when people feel shoved against the wall, it's natural for them to push back in self-defense. So people are going to push back, and sometimes the pushback, honey, it can be very abrasive and it can be extremely brutal. So be careful who you're pushing out there. Be careful who you're pushing out there, not because an individual may seem reserved, not because the people may seem resilient, you know. Don't keep pushing them because they're going to push back. And when they do, that's going to be the end of it. Remember, we were already told that these celebrities, they will become nothing. People are going to look at them as nothing. People are not going to want to provide security for them or nothing like that. So I believe it's slowly but surely approaching that time. But that's all I have to share in this video with you guys. I can't wait to see what next happens in this case. But so far, it seems as though Luigi's fans, they're truly in for a treat, honey. But leave your comment below. I want to hear from you. What's your input? Be sure to say something, and we're going to talk some more in the comment section. Peace.